What can I do when I'm stuck inside you? This cell of ice and fire, what blood red death, lost in desire, smell of life.
What's up? What's up? What's up? So we fucked that up and skipped the intro and forgot to hit the play in the intro, but that's what we do. So welcome. Whole Damn Enchilada Podcast. Brian Inman over there.
That way.
New guy, Aaron Blankenship.
Hello.
Got a third guy in, the third man, if you will. And third man, it's appropriate because tonight is a wrestling podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it sucked the first time we did it, but we got a different guy to help us with it this time. So it might not suck as bad. SummerSlam's tomorrow. So in honor of SummerSlam, like we did in honor of WrestleMania, we're going to do things a little different. Horror is still involved. We're going to do a horror wrestling crossover podcast connection. The connection between wrestling and horror, which has gone on since probably the dawn of wrestling.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been going on for like ever. Feel free to. Oh, we have a comment already. Look at that. Who's that? Hey, Rosa. What's up? Hold on one second. I know this is riveting television. Riveting. Okay. So, as I said, horror and wrestling's been connected pretty much since the dawn of wrestling. When you got guys going back to well, actually, he was like a horror guy outside of wrestling. What's his name? Graham, not Billy Graham, Dr. Jerry Graham. He actually went to the morgue when his mom died and took her dead body out of the fucking morgue and fought a bunch of security police officers on the way out. Oh, dude, it's crazy. It was they talked about it on the Dark Side of the Ring with the Graham brothers, and Jim Cornette had talked about it for years. Dr. Jerry Graham's one of the craziest motherfuckers in history. But I guess Killer Kowalski. There you go. This guy's ripping ears off. So it got a little bit of a horror connection there, but in the 80s and 70s and really went crazy. And we're also going to talk about wrestlers that have jumped and did the same thing in horror. They crossed over to horror movies. And I'm rambling, and this is like very incohesive, and we're kind of ill prepared, but it is what it is. We're gonna do our best and see how this rolls. So we will start talking about what's up, Lisa. All right, we got a couple people in here today. So we got like 6 people watching right now. That's cool. Build an audience. Everybody feel free to comment, join in the discussion, share the page, share the feed. Maybe some other people will jump on. So first wrestler that comes to your mind when you're talking about wrestlers in horror movies. Should I do the first one? Because I know the first one's going to be one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, because I got 5 I'm going to list. They're not in like ranked, but they're like chronological order.
Okay, we'll start with one of them. Throw one of them out there, and we'll kind of just freestyle this.
Well, the first one I can think of, and I've seen this, but it's been a million bajillion years where they actually wrestling played a big part in a horror film was Doctor of Doom.
Who's that?
Doctor of Doom from 1963.
Holy shit! I have no clue what this is.
Right?
It is.
You should have shot me a text about that one so I could do some research. That's an obscure one.
Yeah, it is a lucha libre. It's a Mexican horror film.
Okay.
And
is El Santo in it?
No, we're gonna get there though.
Okay.
because he's been in a million of them.
Yeah. El Santo's done more movies than anybody.
Yeah, probably.
Like more than porn stars.
Yeah.
They shoot like three or four a day, just like the porn stars.
Or they just shoot them at a time, and they reuse certain scenes in different
Yes.
scenes too. They would do that. Like it'd be like stock footage, pretty much.
No doubt.
Especially Mexican cinema like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this guy, Doctor of Doom, he's like almost like a Frankenstein type doctor, and he like kidnaps like women and performs experiments on them.
Oh, that sounds pretty fucking cool.
Well, one of the women that he kidnaps turns out her sister is like the top like lady wrestler.
Oh, lady wrestlers in the 60s.
Yeah, and she
So
vows.
this movies get more interesting by the second. Right?
Yeah, and she vows for revenge because she's lady, like she's like the mullah of like Mexico, like the top chick. She's not. It's not a real wrestler. It's an actress playing a wrestler, but that's like what she's booked as in the movie.
Right on. Jesse joined the chat. He says, Kane, See No Evil, probably the first movie I watched with the WWE star. It's one of the first good ones, that's for sure. I really liked that movie. We'll probably discuss it a little bit. You didn't like it?
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
It's on the list.
Right on.
Again, this isn't a ranking.
Yeah. We're just gonna freestyle this, and we might say like this is the best or that's the worst, but whatever. I don't know if we're gonna do an actual ranking, but
But the actress from this Doctor of Doom film,
yes,
her name is Lorena Vasquez, and she was mucho bueno.
All the way live.
Yes. She was actually a very famous Mexican actress from 50s and 60s.
Was the movie in Spanish?
Yes, it's with subs.
With subs? Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, I could do the subtitles. I'm not worried about that.
I'm sure you can get a dub version of it too.
Yeah, I think I'd rather watch it natural first, at least.
Me too.
And then maybe go back because I think a lot of times when you watch those foreign language movies, and we're gonna go off topic, but like there's this one movie, I believe it was called The Orphanage. No, it was some foreign language movie about an orphan kid. Man, this was one of the scariest movies I ever seen. It's I don't even know what language it's in. But like the fact that you had to be quiet and pay attention to the words sucked you into the movie so much more.
I love subtitled movies.
Yeah, dude, this movie's great. I'll figure it out later. It's not. It came out around the same time as that movie, The Orphan, but that's not the name of it. If anybody knows in the comments what the fuck I'm talking about, feel free to mention it, and we'll go back to it.
Some of my favorite films of all time are foreign films. They're not horror though.
Yeah, I know because you're the artsy type that does shit like that.
Well,
that's why we got you on the podcast to counteract my my ghetto trailer park trash sort of
heathenism.
Heathenism. I like that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to grade these as I go along.
Yeah.
But Doctor Doom is definitely, if you're a horror fan, watch it. It's worth.
We might have to do a full review of that because that sounds really fucking cool.
We should actually.
Yeah, I think we will. Maybe the next time that there's a wrestling thing, that'll be our wrestling connection for the podcast. Michaela says, I'm pretty sure it's Orphan. I think that's a different movie.
Yeah,
that's not it. There is a movie called The Orphan, but that's not this one.
No, that one's not subtitled.
Yeah. So other wrestling horror movies. So we Jesse brought up Jacob Goodnight, Kane, See No Evil. You got a sequel out of that thing. I thought that was a pretty good slasher flick, man. I dug it. You didn't like it. I seen by your face you didn't like it.
I don't think it's very good. I like.
Was it Vince Backed? Of course, it got a sequel.
I liked his character,
but that one had a theatrical release and made more money on its release than any of the WWE movies.
Really,
it's the only one that did make money. It's the only one that made a profit.
That made more money than the Marine
in the theater.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Either that or the Marine might have made more money, but it cost more money to make.
What about 12 Rounds?
That's a very good movie.
It's actually not bad.
But I don't think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read that this was the most successful WWE movie. Could be wrong. What the fuck? Wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time today. Shit.
It's not like any of them made $100 million or anything. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. None of them did anything like that. But that one was pretty good. So, you want to throw out a movie? You got any wrestlers in movies?
Well,
being starring roles or supporting roles,
The
or
first-
you
the
might not even know the motherfucker is there, or
the
what do
first
you
thing
got?
that comes to my mind when I think of wrestlers and movies is Triple H in Blade 3, just because he throws out several wrestling moves.
Oh yeah, dude. And Blade 3 is a vampire movie. It counts as a horror movie.
Sure.
Definitely
certainly
counts.
not one of the better ones, but watching actual wrestling moves was kind of cool.
Oh yeah. That was pretty good, and he was decent in it. But I mean, he was kind of just being a wrestler.
Yeah,
So
and
wasn't
his
a stretch.
teeth,
No, yeah, very
his
few
teeth,
lines. It was smart.
his teeth in that movie were almost as big as his nose.
Donald, FYI, this is a movie I had you watch. It was in a foreign language, and I don't think that was the name of it. But you can IMDb it for me, and that would like fix the bother in the back of my head trying to figure out the name of this movie. So, but at your leisure.
Tyler Maine's name comes to mind, obviously, because
Tyler Mane
Most
was one of the worst wrestlers
Sure.
to be in horror movies.
sure, but
He was Woman's Bodyguard when Doom and that first started. He was Nitron.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and he was Sabretooth in one of the early X-Men movies, but he was in one of the biggest Halloween or horror movies there was. Rob Zombie's Halloween. He was Michael Myers.
the best
That dude-
remake.
didn't he have a pretty good acting / stunt career?
Yeah, he did a lot of that after the wrestling thing kind of, and he was in Devil's Rejects, of course, because of Rob Zombie, because you know how the actors like to use all their same people.
Because
Oh,
you
know
gotta
what?
stop and you gotta stop and think too. Anybody who was a pro wrestler could probably make a pretty good stuntman because they are used to taking bumps.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Knock on the Cabin was pretty good.
Oh yeah. So Jesse brings up a newer horror movie with a wrestler, Batista, Knock at the Cabin.
I haven't seen it.
Fucking great.
I haven't seen
I think it's on HBO Max
And
or
Peacock.
whatever the fuck they call
It
Max.
might be on Peacock.
Yeah, check it out. That's a really, really good one. I think that movie shows Batista as the best wrestler turned actor there was. So, yeah.
I think he had a lot of help hanging out with all those guys in Marvel for those years,
Yeah, it probably did help. For
Better
sure.
than Dwayne?
What's that?
Better than Dwayne?
Didn't make as much money. He's a better actor.
Hell no, he didn't make as much money.
He made a lot of money because those Marvel movies got paid.
Not
I
25
thought
million
that
per
movie was
picture, though.
horrible, Rosa says. Oh, man, I really liked it. And Lisa's mom says that movie was terrible. Okay, I mean, to each his own.
Right.
So this is getting some mixed reviews. So you really
I'll
need
check
to
it
watch
out.
it and see if you agree with them.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Thank you. My wife says The Orphanage is the name of the movie. Not The Orphan, but The Orphanage. And
That's
it's from
right.
2008, and it's in Spanish.
Okay,
But I think like Spain Spanish.
right.
You know,
So sophisticated Spanish.
sophisticated Spanish, I guess. Okay.
My favorite person that comes to mind is Hornswoggle.
Ah, the Leprechaun.
The Leprechaun. That is the worst fucking movie ever.
It's not good.
You know, dude, it takes a lot for me to say a movie's bad. It really does. You know that.
That was Origins,
from
right?
doing these Origins.
Yeah.
Did we even see a Leprechaun? What the fuck was he? Well, I mean, I'm glad Dylan got paid. You know, I mean, that's cool. You know, if you ever met Dylan, he's a great guy.
Everyone says that.
He wasn't at that show that when we met Terry Runnels. He wasn't there.
No, I didn't meet him.
Okay, yeah, he's a great dude to drink with, man. That dude parties, man.
What a
He throws
career
them
that
back.
guy's had, just through wrestling and through the acting.
Mhm.
I mean, he wrestled Great Khali. That guy's what, 7'6".
Oh my God! Now see now Lisa's mom, who said that Knock in the Cabin was horrible, now says that Leprechaun movie with Dylan Postel, Hornswoggle, was a good movie.
Hey, we all judge things differently.
This one was bad, bro. It was so fucking bad.
I don't think I
Yeah.
actually finished it.
I mean, like maybe. I mean, no, and I don't even think I was about to say maybe it's just because what's his name? Fucking Wicket
Isn't in it?
isn't in it.
Yeah,
What is his name? Oh my God.
dude from
Warwick Davis. Warwick Davis. Because
Yeah,
Warwick
Warwick
Davis wasn't in it might be why it sucked, but I love the Leprechaun movies.
Most of them.
I love everyone but that one.
Right.
I
You
even
like Leprechaun in the Hood?
Oh, that's one
Fuck
of the
yeah,
best
and part
ones.
2. Back to the Hood.
Those are some of the best ones.
Yes. Good
I
shit.
never saw part 2, man.
Did I tell you about the Amityville in the Hood?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Roman is just sitting here, just listening away. Roman is what is he? My grandnephew? Is that what that is? I don't know. My nephew's baby.
Well,
How's that
I got
work?
another one. I got another one. I
Great
can throw
nephew.
out.
What's that?
I got another one to throw out.
Ruin?
You know, I'll go down. You know, we're going in chronological order here. The second one I want to throw out is from 1970,
Go ahead.
and that is Santo and Blue Demon versus
I know
the
about
Monster.
Blue Demon.
Yeah,
His son was the first ever masked NWA champion.
that's right.
No, Blue Demon Jr.
No, but I'm saying,
Yeah,
I
no,
know
Santo.
Santo, but-
Oh yeah,
Blue,
Santo,
De-
a
Blue
fucking
Demon-
god.
right.
Blue Demon Jr. still works too.
Yeah, yeah.
He's 57 years old, and
Yeah.
his son is training right now to be a wrestler.
So Blue Demon 3,
Yeah,
baby.
they're gonna rock. Got to rock the same gimmick, the same mask.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
So yeah, this I picked this one even though Santo was in a million things. It was him and Blue Demon in this
Yeah.
one. So they teamed up to battle the monsters. Anybody ever see this one?
No.
No, I have never seen any of his movies, to be honest with you. I know about him, and I know that they're all legendary, and like he's a god down there.
Yeah,
And I know Eddie's dad was a villain in some of those movies.
yeah,
Gory.
yeah. Not this one, but yeah.
Not this one, yeah, but I mean, he was. He got to do some of those movies.
I've never seen this one in its entirety, but I've seen clips.
Ricky says, I liked all of them talking about the Leprechaun movies that I watched, but isn't this a wrestler connected to horror stream? Because y'all talking about other movies. This guy. Ricky wants us to get back on track. He said, stay on fucking topic.
We are. This was a horror movie.
No, we got on the Leprechaun tangent.
Oh, well, that's a horror movie, and there was a WWE
Yeah, that
wrestler
one was,
named
but the one with Warwick Davis, when we were talking about those.
well,
That's funny. So,
but yeah, this one, I've seen clips of it, a lot of clips of it. It's super cheesy, but it's super fucking entertaining
oh, I'm sure those movies are good.
because
So-
they're in their whole gimmicks because that's who they are in Mexico.
Oh yeah, down there, that's their whole persona. Like you never see them without the mask, and it's they go to the grocery store with the mask. You know,
Yeah.
it's that big of a deal.
Blue Demon, the original, his identity was found out, but Blue Demon Jr., the one still working,
Yeah,
try to find his real name. I dare you.
yeah. There you go.
Even in the internet age, no one knows.
That's cool. Like was it Mr. Wrestling was like that? I think was it Mr. Wrestling? No, because he worked without his mask. One of those old timers. Yeah, no, the
Definitely
first Mr. Wrestling, not Mr. Wrestling 2, but the
Yeah, I
first
was
one.
gonna say it's definitely not
Tim
Mr.
Woods.
Wrestling too.
Yeah, Tim Woods never went anywhere without the mask.
Yeah.
So back to Michael Myers, Tyler Mane. He was actually in Hatchet and was killed by Victor Crowley, Kane Hodder. So
Add him to the list.
Kane got to kill a Michael Myers in that movie.
We're gonna have to seriously make a Kane like kill count.
Yeah, we that's gonna be so fun to do. Like just all the horror legends that were
Yeah.
killed in that.
Anyone he's ever killed that was like producer calling the shots.
Talking about Ricky.
Oh. Anyone he ever killed that was in another horror film or somebody we know or just somebody, you know.
Right on.
It's got to be an extensive list. Probably be easier to list the people he hasn't killed
That's good.
in that series.
What, you wanted to put it back there?
No.
I want it gone. So
Sorry.
you just touch it. Yeah, Aaron putting his fucking hands on shit, fucking stuff up. That's what he's
Messing
doing.
stuff up good.
So, other pro wrestlers that were in movies. We went over Kane. Bill Goldberg, Santa Slay.
That was
What a piece of hot garbage that was, huh?
Are you kidding me? That movie is hysterical.
It's a bad good movie, I
Yes.
think. It's one of those that are just so horrible that they're good. I like it.
I need to cool down.
I'll never call it a good movie. You know, we ranked it. We're never going to do a review on it, by the way. But if we did, it might get a D. It might get a D. It might even get an F. But it's worth watching because when I grade the movies, I grade them. I try to grade them from the perspective of how well the film's made, more so than how much I like it. Because like there's movies that I really, really liked. I gave a C+ to. You know.
You guys
Yeah.
can always do a worst horror films of all time. It might make that list.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We might talk about it again, but we definitely going to do a deep dive whole episode on it.
It certainly won't make the bottom of that list, but a movie that's related to another Christmas horror movie.
Ah,
that we
Jesus
just reviewed
Christ!
just might.
Get the fuck out of here. This guy. So other horror people. DDP was in Devil's Rejects.
That's right.
DDP was
Did a good job.
Billy Ray Snapper, and he was also in Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror.
Billy Ray. Well, just like Scott Steiner said, he can't take the trailer park out of Diamond Dallas Page, so that'd be a good role for him.
That's an appropriate name for him. He was a bounty hunter. He was hunting the Firefly family.
Rob
Let's
Zombie likes his WCW wrestlers, apparently.
Yeah. Well, DDP is just, he's always owned clubs and stuff. He's connected to a lot of those rock guys, and he's just everybody's friend. So I'm pretty sure it was like, hey, dude, you want to be in this?
Nobody ever says anything bad about that guy.
No, nobody ever.
No. He helped a lot of people, too. So
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. So that might, I got Kevin Nash on here for something. Oh, no, Kevin Nash was, I got him because, the Tyler Mane part. He was Tyler Mane's partner at one point.
Does Piper count?
Piper, that's why we put, he definitely counts. Piper's, yeah.
Don't go there yet.
No, I didn't think that's why I said. That's why I was starting to say. That's why we didn't bring it up. Yeah,
there's one that's got to go right before that one.
Right on.
And that's Predator. We got to talk about Jesse.
Oh, Jesse. I got that on my list. Jesse the Body of Predator.
To me, that's just not quite a horror film. It's a sci-fi flick.
Action, sci-fi, and horror.
All right,
kind of like Alien.
I think Predator counts as a horror.
At least the first Alien, for sure. That's a horror sci-fi.
Oh, the first Alien is absolutely horror.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is a straight action film.
And I think Predator fits that bill.
I think Predator 1, and actually, you know what? I think all Predators kind of fall in the horror realm.
Yeah, probably. That new one was really good. No wrestlers were in it, but Prey. It's free on Hulu.
Dude, I love Jesse Venture's character, Blaine.
Yeah.
In Predator, I ain't got time to bleed. What a great fucking line.
Yeah. No, Jesse was good in that.
He had one of the cooler deaths for sure.
And
he did.
That's the movie where he was he was trying to organize the wrestlers and get them all into a union, and nobody was listening to him, and Hogan fucked him over.
Yeah.
And then
Hogan
he just said
Hogan stooged him out.
Right. And then after he did Predator, he went back. He said, "Fuck it, I got my union. I don't care about you guys anymore. You guys didn't want to listen." Because he got into SAG.
Yeah.
All right. So
that's a great movie, by the way. Obviously, Predator. I don't think anybody would grade that below a B.
The Running Man too. He was in The Running Man.
And that was classified as a horror movie when I was looking up wrestlers in horror. I don't remember The Running Man.
If you read the book, is definitely a horror book.
Oh, The Running Man's the one with Richard Dawson.
Yeah.
Family Feud is the evil game show.
Yep.
With the guys in prison.
Yeah, I remember it a little bit, but I mean, is that a horror movie?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
No, I don't think that's a horror.
People that die.
It's listed that way.
You're being stalked to be murdered.
I guess so.
The book is definitely a horror book.
Jesse brings up Maurice in Sharknado.
So is Jericho.
Mm-hmm. So was Jericho. Jericho was in a lot of. Jericho was in Terrifier 2, which you haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen it.
But he was in it. He had a little role at the end. I think it was after the post credit, but he was in it. And I remember when we got there, I had no idea it was in it. And we went to the theater, and his name was one of the first names in the opening credit. And I was like, what the fuck? And then after watching the movie, I was like, where was he? And then boom, he pops up in the post credit.
Well, I'm not trying to cut anybody off. You brought it up, so I'm going to carry that over. I wanted to get Predator in their first show was 1987. They lived was a year later in 1988, so we can go there now.
Okay, cool, because that's the last wrestler in a movie I got.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about wrestlers that use a horror gimmick.
Well, this one is extra special to me for a few reasons.
Okay.
One, he's by far my favorite wrestler that we've talked about so far.
Oh, right on.
Two, he's the first one that was absolutely the lead chronologically.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
oh, yeah, that was his movie.
Yeah, it just in 3, he gives the best performance out of any of these guys too.
Oh yeah, that movie was it's regarded by many as like one of the best horror movies ever.
And to me, it's the best movie we've listed so far too. Like, and John Carpenter, of course.
Definitely the best movie we've talked about.
Yeah, we're gonna go totally in depth on this in
Yeah,
like a
very soon.
month or so.
Once because we're gonna go. If that movie's coming back in the theater, if you got the Fandango app, you can search it on there, and it'll show you where it's playing. I want to say it's September 3rd.
Okay,
Could be
either
wrong,
way,
but
we're
it's
there
real close
no
to
matter
that.
what. So
Yeah, we're going for sure. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. And then Christine is the following week.
yeah, I'll check that.
So and I've seen that in the theater before, and I'll see it again because it's fucking
I've
great.
never seen it in the theater.
Yeah,
Yeah, another thing
Iron
too.
theater, all that good stuff. Yeah, I love both of those movies.
We're gonna go in depth on this and all, but I just want to throw this in there since it's.
Oh
mainly
yeah, I
talking
mean,
about
it's like you said, it's the best wrestler movie there is. That's why I didn't bring it up at first at the very beginning. That's why I didn't say what was your favorite because I knew it was going to be that.
Yeah,
or I think I did, and I said don't bring it up because
right.
We'll
So
post.
like, I just want to mention though the fight scene that he has with
how long is that fight scene?
6 or 7 minutes.
It might be the longest fight scene, but you never get bored.
No, because
That's the beauty of it.
Piper helped choreograph it,
Right.
like call the spots basically.
Yeah,
That's why it's so good. You had a veteran pro wrestler. Yeah, look at these guys synchronized. I'll join them. No, but it's regarded as one of the best fight scenes in any movie.
no, I thought so
And
too. Yeah,
I can't disagree.
Mhm. Okay, so those are wrestlers that are in horror movies. Now we're going to flip the script and talk about wrestlers that were influenced by horror and took that into the ring. And Ricky brings up Bray Wyatt, aka The Fiend.
He'll get mentioned.
But yeah, so we got that. But like, so what are you going to try to do? Is like chronologically with these?
Yeah, what I'm gonna do, the last
Okay.
movie I want to mention actually segues perfectly into this because I did rank the wrestlers.
Okay, go ahead.
Chronologically, the next movie I was gonna mention was See No Evil.
See No Evil, yes.
Yeah, and I made a top 5 list. We've already talked about See No Evil. Top 5 horror gimmicky wrestlers.
Yeah.
And I have Kane at number 5.
You have Kane at number 5. That's interesting. I'm curious to see. So I don't have them ranked in order. I don't know. Does Aaron?
I made a little list.
Are they in order though? Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I just wanted to see like how.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. If you got him a 5, I'm curious to see who you got in front of him.
And this
Sure.
this is predominantly masked Kane, like his original run.
Which
Long
was
hair,
super
bad
Michael
Kane.
Myers inspired.
right.
So awesome.
I mean, that was Bruce Pritchard is the whole mind behind Kane. Everything was his idea.
You can
He
thank
molded-
Jim Ross a lot for that, though. Jim Ross's voice.
Oh,
was just-
selling him, yeah. But I'm
Right,
just
yeah.
saying, like the development of Kane, and he wanted him to have that Michael Myers head tilt thing. That he got that
Yeah.
from Michael Myers.
And you got to mention Cornette here too, because 2 things:
The sit-up.
one, he worked with him down in
Yeah.
developmental, and 2, he's the one.
Oh, he
that
worked with
helped-
him in Smoky Mountain. He worked with him for years.
and then also he helped bring the Hell in a Cell thing, and that's where he debuted. And if it wasn't for that debut, he wouldn't have got over as big.
Not as much, no. And yeah, and Cornette taught him the sit up, and somebody videotaped that and put it on the internet, and Corny was pissed.
And then also, Cornette's the one that gave him the idea for the spot of ripping the door off.
And here, I agree with Donald. Go ahead.
Agreed. I'm with you.
Obviously, the mask was more, I think, horror inspired, but Unmasked Kane was way scarier.
I
When he was
disagree.
able to emote and be able to, he just was insane.
I disagree.
Oh, you did? Yeah. I think so, though.
They added a comedic element to it way too
Like,
fast.
yeah, later, but I'm just
Yeah.
like when he
Way too
first
fast.
turned and he was like kind of hearing voices in his head
Right.
and just he was like so unstable,
Yeah.
you know, and you just never knew what he might or might not do. You know, it's like lighting motherfuckers on fire and shit. Like this dude was, and the whole 2 different color eye
The
thing was
makeup
really
done
cool.
very well. The hair.
That he's an ugly son of a bitch, when
Right.
especially when he's shaved. You know, like
And missing patches.
yeah. So, but now I'm saying when he had the clean shaved head, like it looked kind of misshapen.
I like the first couple of weeks when he pulled the
Yeah,
mask off.
Donald, he burned people alive.
Right.
He wasn't fucking around. But yeah, the Kane is definitely one of the better horror themed wrestlers for sure.
Yeah, it was tough putting him that low, but this is just personal preference. Obviously, he had a better career than a couple of these guys.
Yeah,
Arguably,
he might have the longest career of anybody besides the Undertaker, and if you consider the fact that he was never part time, yeah, he was for the longest he was the second longest tenured employee from WWE.
That's right.
Obviously behind Undertaker.
Patterson was
Patterson. Undertaker would be number one.
Oh, a tenured wrestler, not employee.
No, it's tenured employee. For a while it was Howard Finkel, but then he retired.
Well, then it should be Pat Patterson.
What, Pat Patterson? Though?
Pat Patterson left and came back 20 times.
Did he?
Totally through. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He would go home and then he'd get bored and just come. He'd come to like visit backstage, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's working again.
What about Kevin Dunn?
Ooh.
I don't think he ever left.
No, he never left.
He's got to be the longest.
It's probably him. It's probably Kevin Dunn.
Anyway,
no shit, Donald. Kane.
Good memory, Donald. Good memory.
He attached a carpenter to Shane's balls. How much scarier can you get?
That's about it. That's top notch.
No, he was definitely brutal. But brutal horror wrestlers from back in the day. Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah.
Kevin Sullivan was evil son of a bitch.
I have him on my list of honorable.
Do you have an honorable mention?
He's on my honorable mentions list, and but because that whole Dungeon of Doom thing just got so goofy.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Florida.
I know.
Yeah. When he had the fallen angel woman, who was
rest in peace,
so fucking hot, and all the leather and chains and shit. I don't know why I'm thinking that this shit's hot when I'm like 7 years old looking at this, but I did because I'm a fucking freak. Oh well, but yeah, she was great. And then he had Mike Lewin. What was his name? The purple something. Oh man, I should know this. But he was a big old 6'8", and Sullivan was only like 5'6", so he looked even bigger. He was a big old scary dude. At that time, he had wrestled for like 20 years, but no people didn't know him so much. And then when he was doing that, the purple something. Oh well,
I don't remember.
I'll come up with it later. Shoot you a text, and you'll be like, "Oh, that guy." Maybe you will.
I like Kevin Sullivan as a booker. I never cared for him much as a wrestler.
I liked him then, man. Oh man, he was brutal, and he was cutting people's faces and blood matches, the Tree of Woe, and all of this crazy shit he would talk. Yeah. Like, whoa, the dude was on some other shit, man.
With that thick old Boston accent.
What was it? The devil he used to talk about in promos. I can't remember his name. Mark Lewin was the guy, not Mike Lewin. Oh, man, it's like the devil had like this weird satanic crazy name like Ubu Dabu or some shit. I know I'm definitely saying it wrong, but
Beelzebub?
No, it's a name he made up. It wasn't like a real thing.
Yeah.
And he would like pray to this guy in the ring, and like he never called himself a devil worshiper, but everybody else did. But
yeah, how bad did that Dungeon of Doom get?
Horrible. It was.
Oh no, that was horrible with the shark and all that. Oh my god!
I couldn't even laugh at it. It was just.
And it's funny you mentioned the shark first because that basically was a bunch of feeder fish for Hogan.
Yeah. Refeeder, like same drawn up shit they did for WWF.
Yep. That's when they brought in fucking Brutus.
Yeah.
Main event.
Purple Haze.
John Tenta.
Purple Haze.
You don't remember the Purple Haze?
I don't. I just remember the weed, man.
But that was just crazy shit, I loved Kevin Sullivan until later. I liked him the last time I liked him was the Taskmaster when he was running the Varsity Club.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think he was called the Taskmaster. He had a different name.
He wasn't. He was just Kevin
Taskmaster came later.
But the Varsity Club was
when he was when he was running the Varsity Club. That was
him and Rotunda and
Rotunda, Dr. Death, Rick Steiner.
That's when he peaked in my opinion.
Yeah.
in the ring, anyways. You know, and
Yeah.
Well, you almost had to be a good wrestler with those guys as your tag team partners because you'd look really fucking stupid if you suck because those guys were some of the best workers of all time.
Well, let me get my number 4 then.
Okay.
And it didn't last long, but I love the gimmick. I hated this guy. It's a hot take. I hated the gimmick this guy's more known for, but I love this one. Is Papa Shango.
Love Papa Shango. He's on
I
my
love
list.
Papa Shango. I hate the Godfather.
I don't
gimmick.
know why
fucking hate it.
you hate the Godfather?
I don't think there was much more they could do with
It
it.
He was
after
so
The
cool. I
Undertaker.
don't know, man.
He was over like Rover, dude. But
I
he
like them
couldn't-
better. I like them better as Papa Shango, to be honest with you.
Fuck yeah, dude.
What's
I
the guy
didn't
that's
get
based
you.
on? Baron Zemo?
Yeah, he's
Am I
just
saying
like
it right?
this
No, Baron
Like
Zemo was
he-
Marvel.
evil
That
witch
guy's
doctor.
based on this guy too, though.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Like evil witch doctor, but he can fuck you up too.
Yeah, there's a guy that's in New Orleans culture that has a very similar the top hat with the chicken foot
Yeah.
and the makeup like that, and
Might be
it was
small.
used in so much things.
Yeah,
But yeah, the Godfather, or not that. Well, he was the Godfather,
Yeah,
but as
later.
Papa Shango, Charles Wright, and that shit was kind of scary for '80s TV, late '80s,
Yeah,
early
man.
'90s TV.
we were like 9 years old when that
Right.
when that happened,
make
and it's like
Make him the Ultimate
whoa,
Warrior puke, and he's got
yeah.
control of the Undertaker's
Right, and before that, he did a little bit of a Undertaker gimmick when he was I want to say in Tennessee, because him and Undertaker go back, man. They've
Yeah.
always been really good friends.
Oh, I know they're buds. Yeah.
He's a big time biker guy. Papa Shango
He was-
is Charles Wright.
he was a big bud of Yoko's too.
Oh yeah, they had their clique, the Bone Street Crew.
Yeah,
That's the name of the crew.
Yeah, they all got the tattoo, BSK. But yeah, he was really good.
I
a
love
lot of
that
people-
until he and that run was going well until he fucked up that his cue for the main event of that was it WrestleMania or something?
Did it
Yeah,
was Sid and Hogan, yeah.
the Sid Justice or whatever they were calling
Yeah.
him at the time.
Yeah, and that was it was still Sid Justice. And he
Wasn't he
didn't want
supposed to do a
Hogan.
run
I don't
in?
think they wanted him to job clean to Hogan anyway.
Yeah,
And-
he was supposed to do a run in and he fucked up his cue or something.
Yeah, and then that was the Warriors' return was that night. And,
Yeah, that was it for him
pretty much.
until he
Pretty
came
much.
back as Kama, the Supreme Fighting Machine.
Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah, that was bad.
Bad idea.
This guy had almost as many gimmicks as Barry Darso, man.
Yeah, almost. He repoed him from Barry.
All right.
But yeah,
So-
he made my number 4 just because I was so young when that happened, and it was very impactful. And I'll never forget first seeing that guy come out on TV.
I really liked him. I was
Yeah.
always into the darker, crazier shit,
You never saw anything on PG New York wrestling TV like that before that.
No, not at all. Not at all. So we got a couple guys on the indies that did horror gimmicks. You got Nightmare Freddy. You ever heard of that guy?
Seen a picture.
This guy dresses just like Freddy Krueger. He has the fucking knife with fucking actual knives on it, cutting motherfuckers up. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
so
but yeah, people pay to see
out-
the deathmatch shit.
Outlaw Mud Show bullshit.
Outlaw Mudjo bullshit at its finest.
Fuck
What
that.
used to scare me as a kid was the little girls singing in the Undertaker Return vignettes. Oh, of course. Which that's a throwback from the Freddy Krueger. The little girls, very similar. Which was scary as shit. Little kids dressed like that and singing all creepy and shit.
It's usually pretty
And
crazy.
the Mordecai vignettes. Jumping ahead a little. No, because we're probably not going to talk about Mordecai.
No, I'm not bringing him up. No.
He said that in the comments earlier. So you better bring up Mordecai. Hey, we might not. Probably not.
I'll throw one of my honorable mentions in there, and it was tough to leave him off.
Okay.
But I have to mention him. Abby.
Oh no, I got Abby on my list.
Yeah,
And
he didn't
look,
make
that's a
Abby
scary son of a
didn't make
bitch,
my
man.
top 5, but I have to mention him.
That guy, and we were talking about how the Mexicans would live their gimmicks. Abby would too. Abby didn't talk. Abby would, go places and would pretend he didn't know English, and he was from the Sudan as far as anybody knew. And
Yeah.
the way Gary Hart used to, when Gary Hart was his manager and controlling him, he had the towel over his face. Like, when I take this off, this guy's gonna go crazy.
Right. And
And then he would take it off, and Abby would just start chasing after people. People would run. Like that shit didn't happen with a lot of heels, you know, where you really
Yeah.
believed it was real.
I like how you used to.
Ricky used to Donald. This is funny. This is what Ricky says to Donald. He says, he's just puss and boots. This guy. Oh man. Oh Jesus Christ.
Well,
But yeah, no, Abby was crazy, man. Bloodbath after bloodbath, and if you watched him against Bruiser, I mean, they literally tore the house down.
That was a horror show, watching the two of them.
yeah.
Blood, many buckets of blood.
Railroad spikes and all kinds of shit.
Then you had somebody, the Leatherface in Japan, straight up stole Leatherface's whole chainsaw. And I don't like that. You know, if you're gonna borrow something, borrow it. Somebody, Terry Funk, he did a chainsaw gimmick.
Chainsaw Charlie. Yeah.
I think it was cool. What do you think about that?
It's just it's Terry Funk.
I thought it was really cool, and they wanted him to come back as Terry Funk, and he says, "No, do this." Like everybody will know it was all his idea, and everybody thinks he was forced to do it.
No, it's Terry Funk. Ain't nobody gonna force him to do anything at that point.
We're probably not even going to bring up Gangrel, so why would we bring up Kevin Thorne?
See, he didn't make my list, and I love the entrance and like all that, but Gangrel to me just wasn't a good, entertaining wrestler.
Agreed.
Yeah.
No, but I mean the whole deal with the
Brood was cool.
Brood was really cool.
Because Edge and Christian are both awesome.
Yeah, they are. I think
And they'll tell you
Gangrel's
themselves.
decent. Donald, Kevin Thorne was Mordecai, yes?
I thought Kevin Thorne was the vampire guy.
He was the vampire guy, but I think they're one and the same. Two different gimmicks.
Yeah.
Which I guess in that case he just definitely deserves an honorable mention here because he had two horror gimmicks.
Sure.
But and the chick that was with Kevin Thorne, whoa. You remember her?
Oh, yeah.
That bitch was bad. All right.
So let me do my number 3 now. And
Okay.
I know Aaron will have a lot to say here. And it's Mankind.
I knew he was going there. When he said Aaron would have a lot to say here.
Yeah.
Mankind, Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, fucking phenomenal.
Specifically Mankind.
Specifically Mankind, yeah.
Love it.
He is one of the most like what they say about Jake, how Jake had the psychology down, and he did. He doesn't hold a candle to Mick.
I think
in my opinion.
It
Mick would see something away and he would just be able to just develop these characters and just become them. And like you didn't know if this was like when you got to know Mick Foley the person later on, yeah, it was a little different. But before that, like you didn't know if this dude might have been just a little bit fucked up in his head. And and the vignettes with Mankind, with the rat, with George the Rat,
with Carl, George the Rat, Cornette's Rat,
yeah.
I just think that it was different and kind of like the same way Michael Myers was different. That he didn't have some superpower. He didn't have he wasn't 8 feet tall. He didn't have anything crazy about him. He was just crazy, just like Michael Myers, and he would just stalk you, get to you, and maul you like Michael Myers.
Get beat down like crazy. Just take all that punishment,
and then stick his dirty fingers in your mouth and his match.
I'm really glad that he entered the big leagues with that gimmick and not any of the others. I'm glad that
it would have failed if he did.
Donald, that girl went to
ECW.
TNA and she was in the Mexican group. If that helps you know who she is.
If he would have just came in as Cactus
I
Jack,
think with the Mexican chick that's around now, or she's Puerto Rican, but she was with the Mexicans. Didn't she do something with it? Didn't another horror guy, Aleister Black, yeah, but his wife was in TNA, and I think she was in the same group as Kevin Thorne's girl.
What makes
I
Aleister
think
Black?
the Mexican group in TNA.
He's goth. No, Aleister Black. He's goth. He's goth horror.
No, he was, especially in WWE. He's coming out from the darkness. He's like, it's a little bit more than that. He had supernatural shit going on, the rise up thing, and Yeah, no, he's definitely horror influence.
Yeah.
I'd say he was necessarily good. I
Um,
brought up his wife, so I was like, oh yeah, him
well,
too.
you brought somebody else up, and I'll just throw it in there real quick.
Did I? Okay.
One of my honorable
All over the
mentions. One of my honorable mentions was
Okay.
heel Jake Roberts.
Heel Jake
I
Roberts.
was waiting for you to bring him
Pretty
up.
scary. He could
Yeah.
be pretty scary. And
You talked about mastermind of manipulation, and that's Jake.
right, and I was saying, like Mick just did it better. That doesn't mean that Jake didn't do it great.
Oh, of course.
Those two are the best wrestling psychologists
For sure.
ever. Period. I mean, they both could just say and had you just on the edge of your seat the whole time, waiting to see what they were going to say, and you really believed and felt everything they said, and they could be scary.
Not to mention Jake's life is probably true.
Oh yeah,
So
Jake's
Oh,
life.
yeah.
Whew. He's getting it together now. He's back with his ex-wife Cheryl.
Good.
Yeah, she's
Really?
still looking pretty good.
I mean, he's been working, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's been getting paid from AEW. I don't know he's been working.
Well, now that Rick Rude isn't around, Cheryl's available again.
Oh man.
Yeah, I love Jake, man. Growing up, I liked him as a babyface too, but heel Jake was really just
Oh,
dark.
And the snake is what made him a baby face.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
the kids wanted to carry a snake around, and like,
The
you know.
Python made him a babyface. The Cobra made him a heel.
yeah. I love that story with him and Macho, man. Like Macho made him bite himself with the snake.
Right.
Yeah,
'Cause Macho was so paranoid. He didn't trust
You
anybody.
first, Snake Man.
Shelly Martinez is her name, and yes, it is.
that sounds familiar now.
That was on Kevin Thorne's girl, and then she
Yeah.
did the thing with LAX. That's their name.
LAX,
One of the Mexican crew from TNA, but yeah,
Fucking
LAX.
airport.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
The name-
any of them were even Mexican though.
It's the name of an airport, not a fucking.
Hernandez
city.
is a Mexican?
Hernandez is Cuban, if memory serves. Conan is Cuban, but grew up in Mexico.
Yeah.
The other guy, Homicide, I'm pretty sure is Puerto Rican. If Jake Roberts is brought up, then Voices Randy should be mentioned, and now it has. he was a little scary, and you could see maybe something with the craziness and like a psycho kind of thing,
He's
and
crazy, but I don't see the horror. of
no,
it.
not so much.
He's not gonna like torture you. He's
No, the
just-
horror is him locking up Elizabeth in locker rooms and telling her you stay here.
No, not that Randy. Randy Orton.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, we got another nice segue because you mentioned Conan.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Vampiro.
Vampiro. And when he was, if you look at him before WCW,
Yeah,
he was one of the best workers there ever was.
Yeah.
And he was really good. And then when he first got into WCW, he was one of the highlights of their show, I think, because
Yeah.
he was really believable, man. And
the thing
Even
with him,
Vampiro's work now.
and it's hard for these so far out gimmicks to be believable because
The
when
thing
you
with-
watch wrestling, you're seeing like it's presented as a sport, so you're like, this guy ain't really thinking this. When you thought Vampiro was really feeling what he was talking about.
yeah, the thing with him, like you said, when in his younger days, the dude could work his ass off.
Mhm.
And those last couple of years of WCW were really rough to get through, but his segments and his character work were great.
That was amazing.
Loved it. Loved the feud with Sting he had, man.
Yeah, and I think they could have did a lot more, and I think they dropped the ball on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, they did. Well, look
WCW.
look who was fucking booking at that point.
Who was it? Who was the booker at that point?
probably
Russo.
Russo. Okay, there you go. All right. I wasn't sure if that was one of the times Kevin Nash was running shit or
But yeah, it was Russo. But I love Vampiro. I think he's really underrated, and because the only time he really featured on American TV was on a dying TV show.
dying TV show. Yeah, and they could have. I think if Bischoff was still running shit, and he'd be able to see what he was. He might have been able to go further with it.
You know, and
watch
then
some of
later,
that WCW stuff back. It shows you how bad today's wrestling is because a lot of that shit's better than what we got today.
and then even it is, and then
Mm-hmm.
even later on as a commentator, I enjoyed him. So
Yeah, he was decent, and he's worked all around the world, so he knew everybody.
yeah.
So that was always cool.
My last honorable mention that I'll mention is Bray Wyatt, the Fiend.
The Fiend. The Fiend as a character is fucking absolutely beautiful.
No,
There's
Boogeyman?
there's
We'll
so
get
much
to-
I like about that, but then there's so much I don't. Like the way that he was booked necessarily, like the matches.
The matches were horrible.
Yeah.
He had one good match. Two that I really enjoyed.
Daniel Bryan match, one of them.
Candace, what's up, Candace? She says, I love, of course it is.
Yeah.
She says, I love Bray Wyatt. Yes, I do and I don't. Like I said, in the ring, once the bell rings, it's not been good. But the Bray Wyatt, or the match where I believe he concussed Daniel Bryan and took out 5 years of his career, Royal Rumble, one of the greatest matches of all time. And definitely his best match. And also the work he did with Cena.
Yeah.
And of course, you had Cena there. But when the lights went out and Cena's going into that cage and the little boy starts singing, he's got the whole world. That shit was fucking freaky.
Yeah.
It was.
It was awesome. And it's
Especially
little kids,
for that
man.
era of
What's more
WWE.
scary than little kids? What's up?
For that era of WWE, that was really dark because they were very PG and family friendly at that point, and that was something different.
Yeah, no, that definitely really good stuff. And you know, from the swamp angle of Bray Wyatt, you know, the cult leader to the Fiend, which I didn't like at first, and I really hated the Firefly Funhouse guy at first, but it all fucking worked every
And,
time. And then the comeback.
Just
What's
a quick shout out to Waylon Mercy, Dan Spivey.
Who was that total inspiration for
Right.
the cult leader? Yes, absolutely.
If he wasn't so beat up, his body wasn't so beat when he came in, he could have done something with that gimmick, but he just couldn't work anymore.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, and you know the Fiend's mask was made by Tom Savini, right?
Right.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep.
Yeah, the only cool mask you've ever really seen in wrestling is maybe Muda. Kenji Muda has a great mask.
Oh yeah. So we got we went over Chainsaw
Does Muda
Train a
count
little bit.
as horror?
A little bit.
I
A
mean,
little bit.
uh,
Muda, as far as with the Japanese, that was a little bit of a horror gimmick because I had these VHSs from Japan and they had like little horror movies with Muda in them, and it was all in Japanese. I have no idea what the fuck was
Yeah.
going on, but they had some kind of shit like that going on.
I loved the Great Muda as a kid
Yeah.
because that dude did moves that we never saw on TV in America at that point.
Everything he did was new.
Candace says, "Really?" with a question mark. I don't know what she's referring to.
Maybe her comment. I don't know.
Well, her comment was, "I love Bray Wyatt,"
Um,
and we echoed that sentiment.
yeah, Flair liked working with him too a lot.
What's that?
Flair loved working with Muda too.
Oh yeah, he was just a natural, and like all the crazy shit he was doing was way ahead of its time. And this wasn't a 150-pound guy doing that shit. Muda's
No.
a big dude.
Yeah,
Muda's
I think-
230, 240, you know,
Yeah.
6'2".
I think Flair said.
Oh
something
yeah,
too.
Savini definitely. Yeah, Savini made his mask. Yeah,
I think Flair said something too, something along the lines of he's worked everybody, every big name a million times. It's routine, but when you get to work Muda, it's fun because it's something different.
yeah. And you know, especially, and you got to consider having that language barrier there, and it still worked. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
'cause his English is horrible.
sure.
Barely
But-
speaks English.
But his English is better than Flair's Japanese.
Yes, I'm sure. Oh man.
Doink the Clown.
So
Well, yeah, you say we got a number one. We'll get to that, but
yeah,
Doink
but-
the
oh
Clown,
yeah, the Matt Bourne Doink the Clown, Evil Doink. Yeah, that's a good one.
that dude was scary, man.
Just the way he
And I
looked at
love
kids was great.
the change. He'd come out, he's all happy, and then it'd get all dark, and like he did that before Mick did that with the change
Yeah.
in the music, and Mick's always credited for it with Mankind, but I think Doink did it first. I know he did it first,
Yeah, that was like 5 years earlier.
but Maniac Matt Bourne, man, he was
Yeah.
he was a little.
Different.
He's definitely in that Mick Foley, Jake the Snake category as far as the psychology. And if you're hip to him when he was in Texas and stuff like that, you know that he was doing shit like that before too.
He had a lot.
And
Of,
then- go ahead.
He had a lot of problems, man. But
He had a lot of problems. The ECW character, you remember that? Born Again.
no,
He went to ECW and of course they shit on the clown because that was super WWF at the time. And ECW was everything against the mainstream and WWF. So he did this weird gimmick where he was half Doink, and the costume was like half on him, and born again. And yeah, it's kind of cool, man. It didn't get the chance to really develop because he wasn't there long because he's Matt Bourne and he fucked it up. But it looked really cool. You probably could see it on the Peacock with the ECW TVs on there.
That seems interesting. I think
it's pretty cool.
Check that out because I don't care what anybody says, dude. That gimmick was so over.
Oh yeah, no, it was awesome.
So over, man.
It was so over. They got like 4 other guys to do it. They did miss a beat, but they were still good.
No, they were nowhere near as good.
Nowhere near Matt Bourne, of course.
Good enough though.
Shane says Doink was awesome. His feud with Crush was crazy when I was little. The twin Doink is what cost him his job though, because it's when they figured out another guy can do this shit. We don't need to put up with your nutty ass anymore. But yeah, that was a cool thing when they doing the miming thing in WrestleMania. That shit was cool as fuck.
I gotta say, this was the easiest fucking ranking ever.
For number 1?
Yeah.
That's why we didn't even bring them up.
Right.
But since we're at 56 minutes, and these shows usually run almost exclusively an hour and 6 minutes, most of them been that. Now's the time. So the number 1 horror gimmick in fucking wrestling history is
rest in peace,
The Undertaker.
Yeah.
The Undertaker. Nobody did it better. Nobody did it longer.
It's not only, I'll even go this far. I don't think it's the greatest horror gimmick of all time.
It's the best gimmick
of all time.
For sure.
It's very hard to argue. I can't come up with somebody else.
I mean, nobody else stuck to their gimmick that long, hard.
Yeah.
And wrestled on top the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, it was on top literally. This topic came up in one of my wrestling groups, like who else could have did the Undertaker gimmick?
No
he is the GOAT, period.
He's definitely on Rushmore in my opinion.
He's really, really fucking good. He's definitely one of the best attractions. Like I put him on a category of like Andre the Giant, Brock Lesnar. Undertaker is the man, freaking unforgettable, no doubt. Like I don't put him on the same level as Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan, guys that main event every night, Steve Austin. But an attraction that when you heard he was going to be there, or if he ended up being there, you were just like, I gotta be there.
Right.
Like Austin was there every night.
Yeah.
Undertaker wasn't.
Here's that thing though, that those guys you mentioned.
Yeah.
Think about the guys you mentioned there, Flair, Hogan, Stone Cold. Those guys always had a title or were chasing for the title. Undertaker was so over, he didn't need the title.
Shane says even the biker version was great. Everything about it was awesome, and I loved it because I know we're talking about gimmicks and all this. I'm more of a pure wrestling fan where I want shit to be really believable. Now, I did like a lot of the other stuff we've been talking about, but that's where I really liked The Undertaker the most because it was more real to me. But I know I'm definitely in the minority about it.
He was still evil when he was big.
Well, me and Aaron, we got to see him WrestleMania 18 kick the shit out of my boyhood idol, and it was fucking beautiful. Ric Flair, he gave Ric Flair one of his last really good matches, and and that was as the biker Undertaker.
Wasn't that also where he became 10-0 and they started talking about?
That's when they really started talking the streak.
Yeah.
He was on the apron. He counted the 10 with his fingers. They had mentioned that he was undefeated at WrestleMania going back to like his 3rd match, but they never really talked about the streak and really made it a big deal. And then from then on, people really wanted to work. The Undertaker match at Mania was a main event.
Yeah, one of them.
And everybody wanted it. And it was great.
Thing.
I'll throw this out there just because we're talking and we're going to see him tomorrow. What do you think about Brock breaking the streak?
I thought he was the perfect guy to do it.
I hated it at the time, but I've warmed up to it.
I thought he was the perfect guy to do it because the way Paul Heyman has laid it out, like who else could do it?
That's
this is the guy.
That's what makes it
like,
perfect.
How do you know it was planned? It's like everybody's had doubts. Like, did Brock just say fuck it, and take the streak?
No,
and he could. Probably not, but he could have.
Well, no, I've heard it was Taker's idea.
It was.
I think it was Taker's idea, and I think it was a last-minute thing. I don't think Paul Heyman knew
it was
that it was going to happen.
It was so silent when it happened, not just from the crowd, but from everybody around the ring.
Paul's great. I don't think he's that great.
That at least half those people couldn't have known. That was definitely a last-minute decision.
What I've heard anyway, and obviously I'm not there.
Yeah,
but I heard it was Taker's idea. Vince tried to talk him out of it, but he put his foot down.
Yeah, I think it was in the middle of the match, and there's a part where you could see. And he kind of says something to Brock, and I think he knew he couldn't. I think he knew that he wasn't as good as he was, and he was getting beat up, and he was just like, "It's time."
Right.
And I think he felt it right then, and I think it was an audible. And I don't think Brock knew. I don't think anybody knew. I think Undertaker decided in the match that this is the way it's going to end.
I heard that Brock did know, but he didn't want to do it at first.
No, I mean I know it was discussed prior.
Yeah,
but I think in the ring is when he really found out it was going to happen. Vince chose it, and Undertaker okayed it. Vince couldn't make up his mind and settled the day of. Yeah, I've heard stories like that, but he definitely went to the hospital afterwards.
Yeah, he got concussed in that one.
And Undertaker regrets how that match since he concussed himself. Yeah, he did. He had to go to the hospital, and Vince left WrestleMania. That tells you everything you need to know about The Undertaker and what he means to WWE. Vince, WrestleMania means more to Vince than Vince.
See,
and he left to go with The Undertaker to the hospital.
Let me ask you this, though, now. Say he doesn't beat him there. Say Taker's streak continues, and 2 years later, he does the job for Roman like he did anyway.
Yeah.
Do you think that would have got over better?
Not better.
No.
I think it
would have meant more, and especially if Undertaker stayed gone. After he left the boots and everything.
What if that would have been the right there, the spark to turn Reigns there instead of later?
They could have did that too. They would have had to. I mean, almost would have had to do that because everybody hated him anyway.
Right, and then he would have got legit heat instead of and he did a little bit anyway, but not as much as he would have if it was the guy to actually break it. That's how I would.
I don't know. I think Brock was cool because he feuded with the Undertaker forever, and he got a couple good matches out of the Undertaker after that. SummerSlam, that was amazing. And Brock or Undertaker loved working with them because he was so physical, and they could just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Vince are tight. Yeah, definitely. One of those few employees-boss relationships that's extremely positive. Yeah, I mean, he knows everything. Every time Vince has been desperate for something, Undertaker wanted to retire years ago.
Of course.
He started the same year as Shawn Michaels.
He didn't
get 5 years off.
He just wanted to stay home and bang Michelle McCool. But
of course. Yeah. And he's 6'8". He being such a big guy, 6'8", 300-something pounds. It takes more of a toll on him than it does for a guy like Shawn Michaels. And he wanted to be done before, but then Vince's business was down. Taker, I need you, and he would come.
Real quick though, we got to throw this out there too, since he was heavily involved with 3 of the 5 guys on my list, and that's Percy. We got to mention Paul Bearer.
Percy, who I was going to bring up at the very beginning when I was talking about old school guys at horror. He was actually a
real mortician,
and kept his mortician license the whole time because he'd been in the wrestling business so long. He knew that at any minute it could be gone. Yeah. So he renewed his mortician license every year, so he'd always have a career. But Percy Pringle as Paul Bearer. Mm-hmm. I mean, he had 2 careers. As Percy Pringle, he was a great manager as well. Yeah. But since we're talking about horror,
he had so much.
That guy coming out, and he really completed the package for Undertaker. Right. Imagine if it would have stayed Brother Love, it wouldn't have worked.
No.
Not as good.
I love the Brother Love character, but as a manager for Undertaker, didn't make sense.
And Undertaker was in Suburban Commando. Yes, he was, Shane.
Yeah, he was. But that's not a horror movie.
And that's where Hogan,
not a horror movie.
Hogan, who always lies about everything, claims that's when he told Vince, I want this guy in WWE. That's not the way it happened. That's not how Taker got the job.
Yeah.
But Hogan likes to take credit for everybody, so.
Yeah, that's not a horror movie, though, so.
No, I know, yeah. I mean, it was pretty fucking scary how bad it was. Hogan takes credit for showing him the Vince, yeah, but he definitely did not. I know what really happened, but I can't remember right now, and I know that wasn't it.
Well, he was
Yeah.
already Mean Mark Callis on national TV.
Yeah, I know, but the reason that Vince doesn't watch this shit.
No,
I think
but
Vince
so many
was,
other guys
was
do.
turned on to him by I think Bruce Pritchard is the one that brought him to Vince. But I could be wrong. But I do know it definitely was not Hogan.
No, I believe it because he's a Texas guy and he started out.
Yeah,
down
yeah.
there, and that's where Bruce came from. And I know they're real good friends too. So,
Well, so we've went through everybody. It's an hour and 5 minutes and 26 seconds, which is almost 106, which is the sweet spot for these shows. So we're gonna wrap this up. We will watch the page and see what we're gonna talk about next week. We don't even know. Tomorrow we will be in Detroit at SummerSlam. Life will be good. I think this went a lot better than I expected it to go. I like that we abandoned the whole ranking format and just shot the shit. And I think that worked better. And just having your ranking kind of guide us along the way helped, I think. So
throwing honorable mentions while we're doing it helps.
Yeah, I think it flowed real well. And if you guys think so, let me know. Like the page, share the page. Tune in next week, same bat time. And yeah, so anything else, Ryan?
There goes the neighborhood.